Welcome back to News Insight. Barrister, some flashback of Jonathan is a drunk, a sinking fisherman by President Tinubu. What do you have to say?
Well, it's interesting that the man who lives in a glass house is not throwing stones. You know, take a mind back to 2011 when Jonathan was sitting president and he was running for office against the presidential candidate of AC and then person of Nehru Badu, who is now the NSA. Jonathan went to Ibadan and saying that we need to rescue the West from the hands of rascal. In response, Tinubu said, it's a drunk sailor whose boat is about to capsize. It's a drunk fisherman whose boat is about to capsize. And this man was a sitting president. He was enjoying freedom of speech. Nobody did anything to him. He was not arrested. He was not tried because he was exercising his freedom of speech under the 1999 Constitution as amended, particularly Section 30 of the Constitution. But today, fast forward to 2024, the same Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the sitting president of Nigeria, and he has come up with a Cybercrime Act. It's a Cybercrime Act of which, under Section 24 of the Cyber Act, make provision for a cyber bully, wherein Section 24A and B, if you read them combinedly, shows that if you insult the president or any government official, you can be arrested and tried, which is also even contravening the Constitution, which is the ground law. This section is, we need to try that section in the court of law. The people need to go to court and let the court interpret that section vis-a-vis the 1999 Constitution. But we're not speaking of that today. What we're talking about is this same Tinubu, who enjoy all the freedoms, today is the one cracking down on people who are making speech, not even insulting him. They just candid opinion about what the government of the day is doing.
Or what's happening.
Yes.
Practically.
I can't remember the name, a TikTok user who goes by the name, whether it's Tackling or something, that the man insulted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the governor of Lagos, Saulu, and the Inspector General of Police,
And the son.
And the man he was arrested and detained. And he was even taken to the court to be detained, and the court refused. The Magistrate Court, actually, for the first time, they stood on there and said, no, we can't put this man on jail. The man is entitled to bail. So you can see the irony of how the rhetoric has changed. The same person who enjoyed everything under the Constitution while he was outside government is now the person that is carrying the freedom of speech. He doesn't want people to speak out anymore.
Engineer Kingsley, they locked this nation down. They said occupy Nigeria. They came out for protest as much as they spoke things to the president as much as they. If I remember President Jonathan say, I'm the most insulted president.
You see, while I was never part of Occupy Nigeria because I felt Jonathan was heading to the right direction, I was a follower of Tinubu. When we were fighting the military, trying to bring democracy and all that, he's a protest man. He's a man. If there was anything I thought we would enjoy under Tinubu, if not for anything,
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. I mean, I could almost swear, I could bet with my entire life that if we are not going to enjoy anything, that we'll be able to speak our minds. Let's go back to that statement before we get to that Occupy Nigeria issues and all that. That statement was a statement, issues of rascal, was a statement made by a sitting president that we want to rescue the West from the rascals. That statement is to nobody, it's only rascals that can respond.
Yes.
And as at that time, Tinubu chose to respond to the president, thereby taking over the position of a rascal, which Jonathan did not allocate to him. For him to think, if you say, okay, we are going to arrest all the thieves in Abuja, and thief now say, you arrest your father, how can you say we arrest us? The person that spoke has assumed to be a rascal by that time. So it was Tinubu that chose to answer rascal as at that time. He didn't need to respond. And now on responding, he said, Jonathan is a drunk. And a sinking fisherman. Look at the important part. Whose boat is about to capsize. If you say that to Tinubu today, whose boat is about to capsize can be mean that you want to kill him, or you want to take over his government, or coup, or whatever.
Treason.
So which boat? Which boat do you mean they could charge you for treason? But this is never carried any weight under Jonathan. He allowed that to be. You understand? Coming to the Occupy Nigeria, Occupy Nigeria is one of the greatest injustice to this nation. Okay? You people occupied believing subsidy was necessary. Okay? Yes, subsidy is always necessary in all the countries in the whole world. And all the countries in the whole world practice subsidy. Only that what the other country is subsidizing may not be what this other country is subsidizing. It can be agricultural product, it can be health. If you go to UK now, no matter what,
you don't pay anything.
You don't pay anything.
Yes.
Go to Canada,
Yes.
it says so they subsidize health.
Yes.
So there must be something any country is subsidizing. Today now, the president is quoted to have said, oh, he didn't regret the removal of subsidy. This was what he fought vehemently against Jonathan. And now, what was he relying on? He said, oh, he has been able to remove the benefit our neighboring countries were getting from the subsidy. How do you transport fuel? How do you transport diesel? Do you transport them through air?
Yes.
Or you press email? Or you send email?
Even if you transport them through Bush Airport.
Or you send it through email? Maybe you email a tanker of fuel or 20 tankers of fuel. You email it.
Engineer, I'm a pastor by the Spirit.
Do you know that you can't cross our semi border with which you don't have passport?
Yes.
In Nigeria,
yes.
Even though you have your voter's card, you can't go to without customs stopping you.
I say even though it's ECOWAS passport,
you cannot let or immigration stopping you. You cannot.
There must be a thorough.
Even when you are coming back in our airport here with goods, you just came back from travel with shoes you bought to give your friends. Customs will say you should pay a duty on it. Yes. Now, trucks of tankers are passing through the borders. You have immigration there, you have customs there, you have army there, you have police there, you have civil defense, you have all the with our money, and you are saying leakage where? So now the way to solve it is to suffer the people for the failure of government structure, for the refusal to hold these government structures accountable. I mean, the president should do better. If he wants to subsidize, let him not mention issue of our fuel going to foreign countries. He can talk about all that, because that one is, I don't know how to describe that. Nobody will believe it. No. It makes no sense that you have army, you have all the things,
and you are in control.
You are in charge. You are punishing you are punishing the people, the citizens, the poor people, the ordinary person in the street for the failure of immigration, custom, and army and police at the border. That's not nice.
Barrister Philip, President Tinubu and his people, they are using the legal way to silence the voice of opposition. That's what technically is happening right now. They are not using, do you understand? They are now trying to take the people to the court, right? So that the court will pounce on them through the police by criminal libel. What do you have to say about this?
Well, you see, this is a case of clear intimidation. This is a case of clear, state capture. This is a case of clear, dictatorship. This is worse than military era in this country when the military were in power. We still have our voice. We speak out. People like Ganifa Army of blessed memory, they were always speaking. Even Tinubu enjoys the freedom of speech under the military. You see, it's an irony, like I said, that a man that so much enjoys freedom of speech, a man who thrived and grew from fighting the oppressed via the press, is the same person that is gagging the press by using the police to suppress the people, by bringing a draconic law to say that there's what we call cyber bullying. So it's what the police is now holding everywhere. I had a personal experience, 4 Saturday ago, two young ladies were held at a life camp police station. What was their crime? What was the police alluded to? Said they were cyberbullying the police because they were videoing the police who were allegedly was collecting bribe from keke. They were entering to somewhere. You see, Tinubu has empowered the police to the extent that any little thing they can just frame you up under the cyberbullying. But thank God, the activists are there, the masses are there, the lawyers are there. They need to go to court to interpret Section 24 of the Cyberbullying Act vis-a-vis Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that gives every one of us freedom of right, freedom of speech, freedom of association, and all of that. The fundamental human right that's entrenched in the Constitution and which that is the country has also signed into. We need to go back and see whether this Section 24 of the Cyberbullying Act is in tandem with the Constitution, whether it's in conflict or not. Because Constitution is the ground law. Any law that is contravene that section is not and void to that extent.
Engineer, 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Let me use this opportunity to appeal to our leader. Our protest used to be our leader, freedom fighter.
That's what I wanted you to do.
Yes, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that we shouldn't go back to the era where Nigerians were going to exile like he did. He shouldn't send us to exile again. It will not be on good record. We don't want to go to exile because police, army, this and that are harassing us. We don't want to go back to that. He was our leader. Let him remain. Let us enjoy that at least. So let's not go back to that point. Cyberbullying, yes, I'm not an advocate of going to internet and abusing people and making people to go home and commit suicide based on what you tell them.
Frivolous.
But cyberbullying should be among people, not just against police. Why will you make a law, cyberbullying act or whatever? It is now an instrument of people versus police. No, it's people and people. Why will you arrest 10 persons? Out of the 10 persons, the 10 cases where that they talked against police, it should be that they talked against each other. That somebody abused one young girl, that one young girl got home and said he's going to commit suicide because of what somebody told him or her or told her on the internet. So it should not be against police. I think my 90 seconds is up.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful discussion. Thank you. We'll be back.